we're going to use the number line. So you can make another little subheading. That one's better. There you go. That one's actually this one. If you want to copy that one,
Yes.
then subtracting numbers.
Okay. It's like ninja skills. Okay.
Subtracting numbers on the number line.
I think I'm spending more time on the start than writing this down.
Okay. So yes, question.
I put a number line on my roll.
Very cool.
How
It's
do you
useful.
do that?
I'm spending more time trying to figure out how to do the star.
Ah,
than
it's so
writing
tricky,
it.
isn't it? I'd like you to draw a bunch of number lines for me. Put some space between them.
Okay, that's humanly impossible.
Now, hopefully yours is straighter than mine because I did mine freehand because I don't have a ruler in this room. But let's draw 3. 3 will be enough for now. Okay. Now, what's the most important number on the number line?
0.
It's always 0. 0, because that tells you where everything else is in relation to it, right? And we always tend to put it in the middle. So for our first one,
Wait, how long do they have to be?
well, let's see. I reckon 10 centimeters is probably enough. That'll go most of the way across your page, probably.
I meant 10 squares.
Other squares, oh, they're half a, I reckon you need to go 20 squares.
I know, but then I put
Because then you can do double 2 squares for each. So we're going to do 4 minus 2, but we're going to do it on the number line. I'm going to show it, okay? Alright, now, you've got 0 there. So, let's have a go at this, right? Now that 4, that means we're going to start at 4. Okay? So make sure you've got 4 labeled there. And then we're going to go to the left 2 units. So this is the way that I would draw it. 1, 2. Okay? So that's minus 2. So where have I ended up? Well, because that's 4, I can label all the rest of them. 1, 2, 3. So that's why I end on 2. No problems. But it's really nice to be able to illustrate that there. Okay. Another example. Let's switch it around. 2 minus 4. So where shall we start? Well, you start with the first number, don't you? So 1. Okay, there's my start. Maybe I should label that there. Start there. Okay, this 2, I'll start here. Now, when I'm subtracting 4, just like with my first question, I'm going to go that way.
That
4
way.
units. Okay? So I need a few more markings. There we go. So I want to draw in my minus 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So being that we're to the left of 0, okay, that means our number's not going to be positive. It's going to be negative, right? And it's 2 units that way, so it's minus 2. And that's where I finish. Okay. All right, let's do one more. This one. Okay, now be careful. You remember, just like over here, this second example, we're trying to make sure we read this carefully, right? So how would we read this? How would we actually write out the words? Well, I would say, and maybe you want to write this as well with me, I would say -3, because that's the first integer. What's the operation? It's minus in this case, isn't it? Minus -2. Okay? Now you'll sometimes hear this called a double negative, okay? You can sort of see what they're getting at, but that's not really right, is it? Why not? Why isn't it a double negative? Yeah, on the back.
Because it's minus in
Yeah, we've got a verb and an adjective, whereas a double adjective isn't actually in there. It's just a coincidence that these two are both negative. Yes? Yeah, I think it's... Alright, so where are we going to start? Where are we going to start?
on the 0.
we can start on the minus 3 since that's the first number they give us. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. There's minus 3. Now, when you have that minus there, okay, you're facing to the left, okay, but then they say negative 2, so you face back to the right. So you're going this way. Okay. That's a bit confusing, isn't it? So I missed this. This was minus 4. This is minus negative 2. And that's why you can see we're still to the left of 0, often called the origin. And we're 1 unit to the left, so that's why it's minus 1. Okay. Now, using the number line as a way to illustrate subtraction is really, really useful. It's a bit time consuming. Eventually you'll get used to doing it in your head. Okay? But this is a really helpful tool to use. And the question I got was, I don't get this one. This is confusing. That's why it was the one I did last. Okay? So let's dwell on it a little more. Okay? Now, which part of it is confusing?
The line.
I think it's confusing because there are so many minuses and negatives, and that's a bit weird. Okay? So what I want us to put down is, let's write that down. I need some more space. Okay, so I'm going to draw it a bit bigger, and maybe if you're struggling with understanding this idea, maybe you want to do the same as well. And we're going to label all these pieces, and hopefully once we do that, we'll understand them better, and we'll see what's going on. Okay. So, negative 3, that's what's going on front here. Negative 3. Negative 3 is where I started. See that? I started at negative 3, so that's my starting point, if you like. And the first number will always be your starting point. Okay, that's always where you begin, right? Question?
So you write that.
Yeah, if I put something on the board, I think it's generally a good idea to have it as well. And it's always easier to have extra stuff that you don't need, and you can say, don't worry about that, versus, oh no, they explained this thing and I can't remember it and I didn't write it down, and you can't remember it. So I think it's better to write more, and then you can discard things later. Alright, now what's right there in the middle? What's in the middle? It's this guy, this is the minus. Okay. So this operation, the first thing it does is it tells you, I want you to move. I want you to go somewhere. I don't want you to stay here. I want you to move off in some direction. Okay? And which direction is defined for you by which operation it is. Okay? Question? I'm just partying on with my pen. Okay, that's no problem. All right. So a plus or a minus, it means move, right, in a certain direction. For minus, which direction is it? It's moved to the left. That's the way we've described it. Okay, because that's what our number line looks like. All the negative numbers are there. All right, so we started here. We're already thinking, okay, I'm going to move to the left. I'm going to go that way. Okay, and then you get this guy, right? So this is negative 2. Now hold on a second. Remember when we started at negative 3? Which side of 0 were we on? We're on the left side, weren't we? So negative on its own, it kind of means to the left. So therefore, when you see negative 2, right, that means that how much are you going to move to the left? Well, the distance will be 2, but the direction is going to be not to the left anymore. It's like to the left, and then, sorry, which way? Left is this way for you guys, okay? So to the left, and then to the left again, which is why when I drew it, I went eventually to the right. Okay? So I'm turning around twice, if you like. It isn't quite 2 wrongs make a right, but it's the same kind of idea. If you're getting confused by the left-right business, maybe you want to think about it as forward and backward. Forward and backward? So I could call this move backwards. Okay? Move backwards, right? So it's like, okay, I'll move backwards, I'll turn around, right? But then this number tells you, okay, go backwards again. So backwards is forwards, isn't it? Like this is me going forwards, okay? So plus, all fine, okay? Now hold on a second. If I go backwards, will that make sense? Okay. So instead of going that way, backwards to backwards is forwards. So I'm still going in the same direction. I'm still going toward the right, which is, by the way, why the arrows are so important on there. So you can show which way you're going. Okay? Yep.
You can think of it as if you went backwards, you turn around that way. If you went backwards again, backwards.
Yeah, that's a good way. You can think about it as rotating, if you like. It's like, oh, I did a U-turn,
That's what I meant.
and then I did a U-turn again, and now I'm headed in the same direction that I was in the beginning. Okay? So, yeah, same idea.
That's cool.
Okay, so therefore, moving backwards -2 is the same as moving forwards +2. So these two, this minus sign is negative, come together like this. I have another color. You see that? The minus and the negative together, they give you an addition sign. They kind of cancel each other out, if you like to think about it that way. So that's how I go -3 over to the right 2 units. Good question. Is that a little clearer? Is that any better? It's a little bit weird. Keep thinking it through. Okay. One more question.
Does that make the answer -1?
That's exactly right. The answer is, well, not -1,
-1.
-1.
Yeah, I can't.
But yes.
Okay.